Wrestling with Wrestling's Past and Present.
How old were you?
I was -3.
JR is trying to contain Jim Ross.
McFlurry,
It's Mick Foley. Do you see any of the aggro crag? Was any of that left over?
No, unfortunately not.
No?
I'm taking some of that home.
Definitely not is the barn burner that Leaf Cassidy and Tiger Singh was, but we'll leave that there.
We digress.
God, I hope that storyline ends soon.
And 6 to 8 weeks later, they mail you a freaking magnet.
Yep. You may know him as the Red Rooster.
Is it still real to me? Damn it!
He kept making out with his wife. It was weird. So then, I'm waiting for them to put the Selena Vega on a pole match.
And I mean, Big E's got Whale performing in his entrance, so I feel like
Wale.
they would.
Wale.
I don't listen to. Okay, well, I don't listen to him, so I apologize to Wale.
This is in the mail, my good sir. No, it wasn't.
I feel like Vince is just gonna have them team together and be like, have them call Woo Bro. Like they're just gonna be the Woo Bros. Like, anyway.
Giving us a reason to come here and listen to ourselves talk.
Absolutely,
And then you can listen to us too.
Strap on and balls only on Wrestling Past and Present.
This is Gangrel, the Vampire Ward, and you're listening to Wrestling with Wrestling's Past and Present.
This is Wrestling with Wrestling's Past and Present. I'm Tim Kirk.
I'm Roland Fulis.
And I'm Mongo.
And today it is a very special episode. We're doing something we haven't really done before. We are calling it the Summer of Punk Special. A lot of rumors swirling around about CM Punk's potential return, his AEW rumors and stuff like that. So we decided to go back in time. Hard to believe it was 10 years ago, 2011, where he had one of the most memorable summers in recent memory.
And let's be honest, there was nothing else really to cover this week too. So
that's true.
we decided it was the perfect time. Like Tim said, it was 10 years in the making. Plus with the AEW, it was actually Mongo's idea, so I don't want to take credit for something that I didn't come up with. But with the AEW rumors and stuff, it was a perfect time to at least cover probably one of the hottest angles that was really blurring the lines of reality and sports entertainment. So I think it's perfect to cover it, and it was a good call by Mongo.
Thank you, I appreciate it. But it's still teamwork, everything we do here. It's, everything's, we run it by each other, we make sure it makes sense, because sometimes we think we have great ideas, and we're like, how's that going to translate? So yeah, I thought this would be good just because, 10-year anniversary, it just, it's such an iconic moment, like you said. I mean, I still remember, the bits and pieces. I still remember how it's so true today. Like the stuff that was said, the journey that was taken, the storyline, like you said, the blurring of the reality, like what was the work, what was a shoot. And to this day, I still don't really know what was really a shoot and what worked, because there was a lot of stuff that was mixed in. And that's the art that's gone. That's why CM Punk is one of the best in the world, because when he's on the microphone, you listen. It's like the wedding singer. Well, I have the microphone and you don't. So you will listen to every damn word that I have to say.
Yeah, that's one thing I wanted to note too, watching like the clips and the matches that we're going to discuss today, like just the element of realism that was present in this whole summer of Punk was awesome. And I think that's it was something that hadn't been in wrestling in a long time. And I don't think it's been in wrestling like a lot since then. I mean, you look at the NWO, the Attitude Era, that stuff, they blurred, reality a little bit. And that's what, to me, is when wrestling is at its peak. Is when it blurs those reality lines. It's when it's most interesting. So this was, to relive these moments is really cool to go back and take a look at it.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think that, it works out good that, like we said, it was, 10 years ago. So it's a milestone anniversary, and it's something that was, up until the Bray Wyatt Fiend and the Roman Reigns stuff, something that was one of the hottest things that was in the past 10 years. So it's a no-brainer.
I mean, fans still chant CM Punk even before these rumors started. That's why we always joke, we'll believe it when we see it. I know all these rumors are out there. Like Roland said last week, until we see him standing in the middle of that ring, we're not believing anything's true. Because like again, like Roman said last week, he's a troll. He trolls, and that's another element because he's already got that sarcastic nature. That's what helped this storyline too. He already had those little one-liners that he'd throw at you, like "ow," like like he would hit you a line like "ooh," like not to jump too far ahead, but he just he pulled you and he made you care, and he did it Ring of Honor, with a similar storyline, but he on the main stage W he did it, and now I feel like they're kind of teasing with AEW with this whole first dance, not to jump too far ahead, but it's almost like they're teasing another type of summer punk storyline. So that's why I joke, like, are we going to get the trilogy? Because everything's good in trilogies.
Well, and you also, like you said, when they blur the lines like that too, when you have a promo where he literally says, and I'm not going to jump too far ahead, but he literally says this isn't between Triple H and CM Punk, it's between Paul Levesque and Phil Brooks. You wonder how much of that is him just spitballing that, or if that was written, and it makes you wonder. And that was the beauty of this, 4-month stretch of just you didn't know what was real and what wasn't, and what was planned and scripted and whatnot. So it made for really good TV.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's kind of set up kind of where we are. John Cena is your current WWE champion at the time. And the whole storyline is that, CM Punk is challenging for the title, but his contract's expiring. So it expires at the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. So that's kind of the context here. So let's get right into it. We're going to start off this journey on June 27th, 2011 is the infamous pipe bomb promo. CM Punk just cost John Cena a tables match against R-Truth of all people. I was a little surprised that R-Truth actually gets a win over John Cena. So he just cost him that match. And we have a little bit of that pipe bomb promo queued up for you. So let's take a listen to that.
The reason I'm leaving is you people, because after I'm gone, you're still going to pour money into this company. I'm just a spoke on the wheel. The wheel's going to keep turning, and I understand that. But Vince McMahon's going to make money to spite himself. He's a millionaire who should be a billionaire. You know why he's not a billionaire? It's because he surrounds himself with glad-handing, nonsensical yes men like John Laurinaitis, who's going to tell him everything that he wants to hear. And I'd like to think that maybe this company will be better after Vince McMahon's dead. But the fact is, it's going to get taken over by his idiotic daughter and his doofus son-in-law and the rest of his stupid family.
Yeah, that's a promo right there. That's a pipe bomb.
And it's one of those promos where they end up cutting the mic at the end, and you wonder how much rumor has it they just said go out there and air your grievances. Well, that's a fucking terrible idea for the WWE to do for somebody like Punk, because he's gonna say stuff that he probably shouldn't say. I mean, the word that was bleeped out there was douchebag. He said that on live TV, and I know it's raw and whatever, but still, like, you kind of like, I don't know if he should be saying that. And then he just, he some of the stuff he says is so true. It's sad. Like, it's just, you guys don't get to watch the video of us recording show, but like I mouthed pretty much the promo just because it's that iconic. I mean, it is what, and it started this blurring the line of what is okay, what can you say, what can't you say, and it in an era where it's the PG era. It's not the Attitude Era when you can get away with saying stuff like that. So that made the big difference to me.
What struck me is in that promo is he used the word wrestler, which was like a big no-no back then. It's not so much a no-no now because you have the presence of AEW, and AEW refers to their performers as wrestlers. But back then, WWE, it was all about they're a superstar. They're not a pro wrestler. So Punk used that word. And he also mentioned other wrestling companies. He mentioned New Japan. He mentioned Ring of Honor. He had a Colt Cabana reference in there. Yeah. So that is just something that was not done and isn't done even today. I know Sami Zayn had a promo a couple years ago where he did mention AEW, but for the most part, they don't mention other companies. So that's what really struck me most about this promo, is that he said, forbidden things.
I think what the reason why I think I singled out on this clip most was I wanted to find it that this was 10 years ago. That promo wasn't last week, but everything he said, does it sound awfully familiar? Because what he was saying is still true to this day. So, and Tim, I'm glad you picked up on, him using a taboo word, because Vince McMahon hates a belt's to hold, pull up your pants, damn it. It's a title. It's not a belt. It's a championship. It's a superstar and wrestler. It's the WWE universe. It's not the audience, the crowd. It's everything. If it's outside their bubble, it doesn't exist. And that's what I think this promo alluded to is there's life outside this bubble. Like you said, we barely get references of other times. I can probably count on one hand, Kurt Angle mentioned, hey, I heard Impact is hiring, or, like you said, Sami Zayn mentioning AEW, Colt, him mentioning Colt Cabana and Ring of Honor. You don't hear it. So that's what helps blur the reality, is because there are people who are so gaslit by Vince McMahon. They're so conditioned to think that WWE is the only thing that exists. Everything before it and everything that comes after it sucks. And those are the drones. So when you hear me say WWE drone, that's what I'm talking about. Those people who are just like, nope, it's the only thing that exists. It's the only thing. And CM Punk was like, look, no, I'm a wrestler. I'm the best damn wrestler in the world. I'll go back to Ring of Honor. I don't give a shit. I'm taking that title with me. And that's why when it started this summer of Punk, that's why when it started this, that's why the pipeline was iconic. That's why everything's iconic, because you were invested. You were like, holy shit, I am hooked. And that's what AEW is doing today, is you want to tune in every single week to see what happens. With Raw, when you need a good nap, you tune in.
There we go.
You tune in to tune out. You literally you're like, I can't sleep today. What should I do? Oh, it's Monday. I'll turn Raw on. It's 3 hours. Like I saw on Twitter at one point this week, it's 3 hours of fucking rematches. That's all it is. It's a joke. It really is.
Yeah, it's definitely not good. It's not, I don't think it's been good in a long time. Even if you go back to 2011, I mean, it's still, to me, I'll say this until it happens. Like, I think it's missing the element of realism, like Punk brought us here, like the NWO brought us, like DX brought us. Like, I think that's when it was interesting to me. And it's just kind of, since they've gone PG, it hasn't been as entertaining for me.
And one of the big
almost died once. But Vince almost died once. I mean,
he did die. We got blown up in a limo too.
That's true.
That, and then the McMahon's Millions, where the stuff fell on him and almost killed him. And
yep.
I mean that's totally viable, right?
And it's okay
Roman
to suspend.
Almost died once too. Sorry, Mong, I didn't go. Roman almost died once too. Kayla Braxton still says that's one of her worst moments ever. In the WWE was when she had to scream about Roman being trapped under the scaffolding and stuff when they had. So, I mean, it's just that's their idea of blurring the lines. It's like no, like no.
And the hard part is, some of the wrestlers, and I'm not trying to pick on them, but to use Alexa Bliss as an example, not to pick on her, she has this theme gimmick, and then she'll literally post on Twitter that she's out with Ryan Cabrera at a restaurant. And I have no problem, stay off social media if you want to keep real, but it's hard because you don't have people like The Undertaker anymore, who he barely did an interview. I mean, he did interviews Undertaker with Vader, and Vader got freaking arrested. So he didn't do interviews because bad things happen, and he wanted to keep the mystique. And yeah, we all knew that, this dude was in Suburban Commando, that he's not really a dead person and doesn't have supernatural powers, but we were invested because when we tuned in for those 2 hours, we were invested. And that's what CM Punk did. He invested. I mean, the friggin' show on the 20th Rampage sold 13,000 tickets today on pre-sale, just on the rumor and teases of CM Punk alone. If that's not showing how much he got people to invest, even 10 years after this promo, 7 years after he left the business, then I don't know what is. And like Tim said, that's what Raw needs, a little bit of poison, a little bit of realism, not Hollywood writers who don't even understand their asses from their elbow.
No, not Lashley marrying Lana.
Well, that's the thing too. The Alexa Bliss thing. I was on her Twitter, and she posted about, I guess, the kid show Arthur got canceled, and she posted no, and she'll post happy birthday to Ryan Cabrera and stuff like that. But I'm a fan that likes the wrestlers to work the gimmick, to stay in character. Like, even if they go on, Jimmy Fallon or Jimmy Kimmel or something, like, wrestlers should stay in character, because if they show their real side, then you're not as invested. as you should be, because it's like, what's the point? And we all know it's all scripted and they're characters, but it's kind of takes you out of you don't get lost into it, when they show like their human side.
Well, and I think that's what makes Punk so polarizing is that he is who he is. He's not playing a character. He is an outspoken, douchebag at times. It's not afraid to say what he should say or shouldn't say, regardless of what's going to happen. There's been times that you could probably bank on the fact that his mouth got him in trouble for stuff that he shouldn't have said, and he just went out the next week and still said what you couldn't filter him. There was no censoring CM Punk. That's who he was, and that's, I think, what made the character and the person so polarizing.
You could say the same thing too for comparison to Stone Cold. I mean, the Stone Cold character, that's pretty much, Steve Williams. Just turned up a little bit, and I think he got over a little bit.
Not Dr. Death, but
no.
Williams. But yeah, no. So, and
the one who had a good career and was still Jarrett's friend.
The one that didn't get knocked out on, by Bart Gunn, Brawl for All. But so, and that's the other thing too, is that during that pipe bomb, whose shirt was he wearing?
Stone Cold, yeah.
Right. So.
So the next, we'll move on a little bit in the timeline here. We go to Raw in Boston a couple weeks later on July 11th, 2011. This is the contract signing. It's a public contract negotiation between CM Punk and Vince McMahon, and I think we have a little bit of audio queued up for that one.
Everything. I want my face on the Titantron. I want my face on these turnbuckles. I want cups, posters, spoons, knives, forks, shoes, socks. I want everything with my face on it. Number one thing being, I want you to bring back the WWE ice cream bars.
I love it every time.
Yeah, I think
ice cream bars,
because the new ones are fucking trash.
I think that's the most memorable part that people remember is the ice cream bar thing, because they actually did bring them back. It's like a pretty big thing for them. This was a cool segment. I mean, again, he's begging Mr. McMahon to apologize, and he brings up all the people that were released that were treated badly. I wish he would have said names. I think that would have made it even better. He didn't really go into who he was talking about. But I think if he mentioned names, that would have even, blown the segment over the top. And he finally did get Vince McMahon to apologize. He goes, "I apologize, you son of a bitch." But yeah, I know this is a classic segment. He wanted a private jet. He wanted to be the main event of WrestleMania. This is the time when The Rock was coming back, and Rock and Cena were headlining WrestleMania. He kept calling him Dwayne. He had a line in there about, that's The Rock if you don't watch bad Disney movies. So it was a really interesting segment, and they kind of, fed off the pipe bomb a little bit of a continuation. So it was pretty entertaining.
Yeah, I don't know how you go from the pipe bomb to this and not keep it turned up to the degree that they did, because I mean, once you do the pipe bomb, you kind of have to continue that same kind of, not being censored and screw the WWE, and you're not going to censor me. I'm going to say what I want, and if you don't like it, tough shit. I'll just leave. And then that was the thing too. I remember at that time, nobody really knew. Like you kind of had a feeling once he won the title, and I know I'm jumping a little bit ahead, but once he won the title and he left with it, that was when you kind of had the feeling that, okay, they're going to sign a deal with him. But up until then, you had no idea. And if you're Vince McMahon, you're not going to let him leave with the title if he's not planning on bringing him back. So, like, that's the only negative part about, and again, I'm jumping a little bit ahead, but that's the only negative thing about that, is that up until that point, we didn't know. We didn't know if that was his last match or not. And then he wins the title, and you have to go, well, clearly they're going to bring him back. They're not going to let him Medusa and show up in Ring of Honor and throw the belt in the trash. So, it's just, I'm glad that they didn't deviate. Even when you get further into this Summer of Punk, like when he talks with Triple H and stuff like that, he keeps the real Phil Brooks in the promos and says stuff again that other people, the only person that could probably get away with saying some of that stuff was Shawn Michaels ever. And then that's the truth. I mean, Austin said some stuff probably too that, Vince kind of let go, but there aren't very many people that can talk to Vince that way or talk about Vince that way.
And you both had, perfect analogies on this. And to echo your point, Roland, not a lot of people get creative freedom. And here's another thing that always bugged me. There's a difference between creative control and creative freedom. I don't understand where this misconception of, WCW went under business because every wrestler had creative control, and AEW is going like that too. No, creative control is different. It's essentially input. And that's what CM Punk had. That's what The Rock had. So they had more creative control over the character. They could say to Vince, no. They could say, I don't agree with this. Versus Vince normally saying, this is your character. I don't care that you're wearing an eye patch. That makes no sense. And that you're wearing this romper that has a fuzzy tail. It's funny, damn it. This is what you're going to do. And like you said, unless they have that ability to tell Vince, kiss my ass, or on camera or off, you had to deal with it. But Punk was one of those guys. You didn't know he could go back to Ring of Honor, and he would have been huge in New Japan. TNA wasn't, too relevant then, and they didn't have major competition. But like you said, it was that Bret Hart 97 storyline again. Like, he's going to go to Survivor Series. Again, not to jump too far ahead, but they kind of teased that angle too a little bit. He's going to leave with the title. And like you said, he's going to Medusa it. Or, they're just going to screw him over. CM Punk's going to resign. You didn't know. So every week you had this, this is what's going to happen. Oh, maybe not. Oh, maybe so. And that, again, it got you hooked. They could run this storyline today with AEW being a real threat. They could say, what do you mean you want to go down to Florida? They could easily tease it with little jabs here and there. Maybe the Baron Corbin, they could tease it somewhere different. There's so many ways they can do it, and they don't use it because they stay in their stupid NBA playoff bubble, basically. That's what WWE is. They're in their own bubble. Nothing exists outside it.
Yeah, no, I agree. We kind of jumped ahead. You mentioned 97, the Survivor Series. Michael Cole in the match we're going to talk about in a little bit mentioned, brings that point up that, that's how much the belt means to Vince McMahon. He's not going to let it happen. But you really still didn't know which way it was going to go. So it really kind of, it gave you a reason to tune in because it wasn't predictable. And so much, especially WWE now, was predictable. It's not even a point of watching it because you know exactly what's going to happen before it happens.
Well, and that's what made the Keith Lee thing a little bit different. They had him come out before Goldberg, so people were like, oh shit, maybe they're not going to feed Goldberg to Lashley. I mean, it still happened, but at least they weren't just like, who's next? Goldberg. No, it was Keith Lee, so it was actually kind of cool. I mean, yeah, they squashed him, and that's another story for another time. The injustice they've given Keith Lee is a fucking joke. The guy's been gone for 7 months, come back, and now he's a borderline jobber. But that was one of the more predictable things of Raw, and they actually let it go unpredictable, where they had Keith Lee show up and whatnot. So kudos to them a little bit for kind of going there, but you have to do that. You cannot have a show, no matter if it's a pay-per-view, a Raw, whatever, if you know what's going to happen 90% of the time, no one gives a shit. No one cares because you already know what's going to happen. That's like when you have a match with a stipulation, that for a fact can't go the other way. Like, they're like, there's no way they're going to do this. And then 9 times out of 10, it goes the exact way you're thinking. Every now and again, they might find a way to have it not go that way. But 9 times out of 10, it's so predictable. It's like, oh yeah, let's have a stipulation that doesn't matter because you can't do B, so you have to do A.
I feel like they're teasing triple threat match for SummerSlam with Finn Balor, John Cena, and Roman Reigns. If you watched SmackDown last night, John Cena basically stole the contract from Finn Balor after he was attacked by Corbin. So it's like there looks like they're obviously setting up a triple threat match. So that way, either Roman doesn't eat the pin if the title changes hands, or which I'm sure it won't, or Roman can stack him and smash him again because he kind of hinted that again. So it's like there's nine possibilities going to go, and they all suck. And there's that one chance it swears, and that's that little glimmer of hope we hold on to. But that rope's starting to get covered in Vaseline, and I'm starting to let go because it just, at this point, you want to be invested. And that's why I like going back doing these things, because you get invested. Any good TV show, Game of Thrones, Big Bang Theory is a sitcom, you have to get invested. I mean, it's pretty bad that Big Bang Theory had better character development than Monday Night Raw does.
And then, you have the thing about it too is that by doing it that way too, if they do a triple threat match, like Mongo said, it's the easiest way to get around beating A or B. You now have C in there, and you could just have them eat the pin, whether it's Cena beats Finn Balor and then Roman has a beef, or Roman beats Finn Balor and Cena's like, well, it's just like Edge all over again. I didn't get my one-on-one shot, so let's do it at Survivor Series or whatever. So it's repeat booking they do all the time, and that's the unfortunate thing is that when they don't know how to make a finish happen, instead of doing a dusty finish, they just make it a triple threat, and they just like, well, we can beat him, but we can't beat these two. So
they're doing the same thing with the women's women's title on Raw with Nikki ASH and then Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair. I mean, you knew the moment both of those ladies came out with Nikki that they were going to be a triple threat match, and boom, there comes Sonya Deville, and that's what happens. I mean, they're doing the same thing.
It's called going to the fucking well. The well's dry. The well is so dry, it's kitty litter. Like it's and that's what they do. And then, like I said, with the Edge and Daniel Bryan storyline, Edge is like, well, I never got I won the Rumble, so now I get a match. And then he gets a match, and they're going to do the same thing. They can have the same exact thing happen with John Cena. Well, I never got my one-on-one match. Finn Balor was in that. He lost. I never lost. Blah, blah, blah. That's the one thing that makes AEW different, is that it's refreshing, that you cannot predict. I mean, some of the matches you can, which, I mean, no matter what you do, you're going to be able to predict some of them, but the element of the unpredictability of the matches is, as a fan, what you need.
Not to jump too far ahead and get to the end of what we're talking about, but they were saying that originally All Out was tentative plans were in place for Hangman versus Kenny, and then they had a surprising loss Wednesday. Now Hangman's not fighting Kenny for the first time, so they're still pushing him. They're still building that storyline longer. So you get invested, you're like, okay, so now what's going to happen with the champion All Out? He's got to wrestle in September at the biggest pay-per-view. It's in Chicago, so it's like, is that when CM Punk's going to challenge the best in the world to keep on track? We don't know. And that's what's great, because it could be that. It could be a whole nother competitor. It could be a crossover thing. It's interesting. I want to stay interested. And that's what this CM Punk Summer Punk did for me. Like, honestly, like WB, I teetered a lot from like 2008, 2012 between watching, not watching. CM Punk 2009 was not the same as CM Punk in 2011. CM Punk 2011 is what sold me. I already liked his character. I already liked his gimmick. This is what sold me that he was, when he said he was the best in the world, I friggin' believed him. This whole run is what showed it to me.
Let's continue on with the Summer Punk timeline. Let's go to July 17th, 2011. It's the Money in the Bank pay-per-view in Chicago. CM Punk's hometown is John Cena versus Punk for the world title. The match was great. It went about, I think it was like 33 minutes, something like that. I think Dave Meltzer gave it 5 stars. I thought it was an excellent match. The crowd was really hot, obviously behind Punk, but they did have some Cena chance too. So I thought it was a really good match, and the whole way you did not know which way it was going. McMahon and Laurinaitis came out towards the end when Punk was in the STF. And, they were going to go for the bell, but Punk, punches Laurinaitis. But then, Punk capitalizes and gets the win, and he leaves Chicago with the title.
The blown kiss seen around the world. The infamous over the guardrail, blowing Vince the kiss with the title. And actually, when he wins the title, sitting in the ring with the belt, holding it like, look what I did. They mirrored the screw job with Vince coming out and gonna call for the bell and whatnot. So it still kept the element of surprise. And like I said, until he won the match. Once he won the match, if you're a smart fan, you're like, there's no way he's leaving. And I said that in quotes, air quotes. There's no way he's leaving, because Vince wouldn't let that happen. There's no way. So clearly he's coming back. But I like how they tried to kayfabe it. They had him, supposedly booking indie dates and stuff like that, and he had to cancel them anyways. It was fake, but it at least kept the storyline going where you didn't know what was going to happen, and it's interesting to think like what had happened if they let Cena win and they screwed Punk. What would have happened? What would have came out of that? There's just so many what ifs. And I think that this is one of the last times in recent memory, and this is going back 10 years. So this is like legitimately, I think, one of the last times where you can say that they actually listen to the fans. Like they're like, oh, we do what's best for business. No, you fucking don't. Don't blow smoke up my ass. No, you don't. And if you did, the situation where Punk walked out never would have happened. And that's the thing. Like that's the brutal honesty of it. The fact that Vince then serves Punk his papers on his wedding day. Like it's like you're a douche. Like you don't listen to. You can say, "Oh, we do what's best for business." No, you don't. You do what's best for Vince McMahon and what he wants to do, and that's where this line was blurred because at the end he took the belt and he blew the kiss to Vince and off he went.
My first question for you was that Frank the Clown that was there? Like, I swear that was Frank the Clown. If you guys know what I'm talking about, Noel Foley's boyfriend there who paints half his face like a clown. I was like, is that? So I sent him a tweet. So I want to follow up. Like, I want to know if that was him because it looks like him. Either that or there's a really creepy clown because he was like all excited to be up in CM Punk's grill when that happened. So I wanted to bring that up. So I was like, wait a second. But to go back to Tim's point earlier when this match started, they had the let's go Cena sucks chants going. It's funny because that's essentially if you divide that audience in half, the Cena sucks people essentially went to other promotions, and this let's go Cena is ones who kind of stayed loyal to WWE. Like that's the evolution of, like Tim said, when it went PG. That's the evolution. You had those hardcore fans who were like, no, we want Punk, we want something different, and they were overtaking. But then you had like the young crowd, the one that WWE caters to, people like my kids' age, 7-year-olds who are like, look at these pretty colors, flashy shirt of John Cena, available in 19 different colors every day. I'm going to wear them all the time. Here's my shiny belt, buy this headband. Like that's literally what he was, a walking billboard. And it was refreshing to see CM Punk win. And, someone go against the machine. And like Roland said, blow the kiss, heard around the world, like, kiss my ass goodbye. I have your prize. Later that night, that famous tweet, he posted a picture of it in the friggin' fridge. I think I sent it to you guys in the group chat. Like one of my favorite things he did. I'm like that his social media game, to go back to what Tim said earlier in the show, his social media, he blurs reality perfectly because he trolls, like Roland mentions, before. And then like, he gets you to buy into his tweet. It could be something simple as he'll tweet, no, it's not me. And it's just because you heard that random rumor. And it's like, he's literally responding to a rumor without responding to a rumor.
Well, and Becky Lynch has been doing that a lot lately. Going back to the Rumble, she's been, just trolling the shit out of everybody. Like everybody, oh, she was at the arena. Well, you do remember she's married to Seth Rollins. So like she has a right to be at the fucking arena. Like it doesn't mean she's going to show up. But then she also plays off that like, hey, I was seen at the arena. Hey, look, here's a picture of me at the arena. And then she knows.
I dyed my hair back red today.
Right. So it's just, anybody that's good at what they do, in all honesty, follows the same logic of Punk as far as WWE let it go. I mean, look at the the Becky Lynch, the man stuff. Look at the Stone Cold stuff before Punk. You have that same thing of like blurring the line, going to that line, stepping over it just a little, and that's what blurs it to make people not know what's real and what's not, and that's what made people tune in.
Even the Festival of Friendship, you went from having a fun comedy act to a brutal rivalry in the matter of months. And it's what the fans wanted. We all wanted Kevin Owens to turn on Chris Jericho. And he did with the, what's my name doing here? Nobody saw it coming. I don't care if, you say you don't. Even Jericho says in this podcast, you didn't see that coming. That was one of the best swerves since the Red Wedding, is he was quoted as saying. And that's a Game of Thrones reference if people don't know. But that's what you liked about wrestling. Like you said, CM Punk trolling, Becky Lynch trolling. It's great because then I fell for it. I was like, hey, maybe she is coming back. Oh, no, she's not. She got me again. But it gets you to care because they're using their platform to keep their character developed. They're not like, this is my character on TV. Hey, look, I'm at Chipotle and I got some Starbucks. They spelled my name wrong. Tee-hee. Like,
don't you hate that though?
My shoot name is Josh. It's 4 letters and they still screw it up. All right. Breaking the fourth wall there.
Oh my goodness, we just found out what Mongo's real name is.
Oh boy, we're breaking the fourth wall.
Yeah.
I mean, if they follow us on social media, it's not that hard to figure out.
Hi, Cole Cabana. But yeah, no, it spot on. It, you know, Punk made people care. And like Mongo said, the infamous, you know, I won your belt, now it's in my fucking refrigerator. Like, just it's the stupid, silly, like, you know, and as a fan, you're like, wow, that must really chap Vince's ass to see the belt in a refrigerator like it's a fucking piece of steak that you're gonna microwave later. You know, it had to. You know for a fact that none of this stuff that Punk puts on there, he gets approved. He just does it, and he would rather do it and then ask for forgiveness than ask for permission, and that's what makes him great.
By the way, I don't recommend microwaving steak because
I was going to say we're not going to.
Well, no, I'm just. He had it in there like it was a leftover, you know. Like he, like, look at my fridge. I got some water, and oh hey, look, there's a belt.
I mean, I know even steakums are pretty bad, but you still got to pan fry those things. You can't. Ugh.
No.
I mean, if you're going to eat cheap steak, at least try to put 8 pounds of garlic on it and throw it in the frying pan.
Hey, you know, little known secret. My mom will purposely get a steak like rare or medium rare, so that way she can take it home and warm it up. So then it will be just medium. And I'm not like, she'll do that all the time, and that's like her. I have a second meal now, and she'll purposely get it like one color, like a little bit lighter, so she can microwave it and still eat it.
That's just straight up intelligence. Good few. That's some smart thinking right there.
See, my rule on steak: if it's not dripping in blood, it is overcooked.
See, medium for me, I can't. Like, I don't know. I want to forget it's an animal. I know it's, but still, like, not to get. We don't need our our vegan listeners to hail shit faster than Punk did. But yeah, medium all the way.
My rule on steak is it needs to be with bread and cheese for like a sub. Like I'll eat steak. Like I blew my wife's mind one time. We went to Longhorns probably 5 years ago, and I got steak tips, and she about fell out of the fucking booth. I don't like having to fight my food, just like the same thing. And again, this is way off topic, but it's just like with bone-in wings. Like, yeah, they're good, but like I don't want to have to. I'm getting like 2 ounces of chicken, and I have to literally like fight with it to get it off. It's like, no, just give me a boneless one. Let me pop it in my mouth, eat the damn thing. Like I don't want to go pay the money to eat this and then have to work hard to eat it. So like I've never, I don't mind steak. I hate chewing it 53 times and being like, oh, this is even steak that's not like overcooked. You still chew it way more than you should. I feel like it's just too much work. Call me lazy, call me whatever you want, but that's just my take on it. I know this went like quick. Like it went
this is what happens with late night, though. You get some interesting behind the curtains. Your 3 lovely hosts here.
Yeah.
And by the way, boneless wings are just friggin' chicken tenders or chicken nuggets because it's from the breast. Like I hate that term. It drives me nuts.
Hey, I don't do it. I don't have to pick it off.
No, I know.
And then I don't have to like I said, by the time I get done eating like even like bone-in chicken breast, like if I'm like I'm gonna get a chicken breast, I want it to be boneless because I don't want to have to pick around all the friggin' bones because I feel like I bought this and I want to be able to just eat it. I don't want to have to fight with it to eat it. Again, call me lazy, call me whatever you want. That's my thought on it, and I'm not changing my fucking ways. I'm 35 years old. And I haven't changed.
You enjoy your breath the way you enjoy your breath, Roland.
Hey, coming from the master of strap-ons, I
wrestling's past it after dark.
Yeah, we've entered the parallel universe where anything goes.
It's like when you're a kid and you realize what happens to Cinemax after 11 p.m. Spoiler alert: boobs.
Yeah, that softcore stuff that you're like, oh, and you're like 17, you're like, yes, this is great. Yeah, just boobs. Like that's all. That's literally all it is. It's boobs. But anyways, yeah.
Before we start, Tim,
celebration.
We saw one boob that day too.
Yep.
So,
I mean, speaking of boobs, I guess we got to talk about Vince a little.
yeah. But Vince loves cock.
Yes.
But anyhow.
All right. Well, let's move on to the Summer of Punk timeline.
Let's bring the nose back up, shall we?
Yes. We're going to fast forward a couple days to July 21st, 2011. Triple H along with Rey Mysterio, they're at a Comic-Con. What was the location on this, Mongo? Do you know?
I think it was San Diego Comic Con. I think because they were promoting their toy line because I saw the Mattel logo.
Well, and why would Rey Mysterio be there? It's gotta be 619. It has to be.
Well, they're also doing a tournament to determine the new champion, and Rey Mysterio's in that tournament. We'll get to that a little bit later, but we have some audio from the Comic-Con queued up.
We don't have audio from the Comic-Con.
We don't have audio. Oh, okay.
Well, I could have been on mute there. So,
but basically, Triple H is doing a press conference, and a reporter asks a question, and CM Punk interrupts and goes, "I have a question," and just interrupts. And Triple H goes, "How's the unemployment line?" He's like, "It's good. I'm not really looking for a new job." And then he asked like this 3-part question. Including like when Zack Ryder going to be on television and stuff like that. So it was a whole back and forth. It was really cool, and again, it's playing up this whole storyline.
If only we had the audio.
Well, no, that one I didn't really could get a good clip on. So if people want to watch it, we're going to put our YouTube links of everything we watched.
There you go.
So that way, so you can be able to watch it, so you can see. But I didn't want like really horrible sounding audio because he was already like recorded from a cell phone and he was on a mic, so I feel like it would just come through terrible. So I figured the video would be better because at least you put the captions on if you can't really understand what he's saying. But yeah, I agree. I popped for the whole when are you gonna put Zack Ryder on TV? Because it's no secret I'm a huge Cardona Ryder mark. Woo woo woo, it. I don't care. I remember watching Z Long On IZ, the True Hollywood Story thing he did. It was like 50 episodes, a little YouTube show. If you guys haven't seen it, it's friggin' hilarious. It's still on YouTube. It's a little like 3-minute episodes where he's like making fun of the fact that he's a curtain jerker. Like there's literally one where he's doing those old PSAs and they have a stove and they have ice and he takes his action figures like, this is Zack Ryder. This is putting Zack Ryder on ice. And it's just like these little shots. And then there's another one like, this is Zack Ryder. And he puts him on top of his TV. He's like, this is putting Zack Ryder on TV for once. So it's kind of cool because it plays in because he's doing that podcast as well. It's kind of going back over. And he jokes about how, him and Punk, the Summer of Punk and the Summer of Ryder kind of like were going along. He's like, except I was being buried. Punk was going to this, the sky. And it's kind of funny that in 2021, two of the hottest things talking about right now are Cardona beating friggin' Nick Gage for that GCW title, causing a riot like haven't seen since NWO Hogan, and the CM Punk rumor. So it's kind of crazy how 10 years later we're almost talking about something that changed the wrestling world back then, and now we could be changing the wrestling world for the better. Now.
I want to get into that for a second. I don't mean to cut you off, Roland, but the whole thing with Cardona beating Nick Gage. I don't know about you guys, but that kind of like ruined the Jericho Gage match for me. He's like, Gage, there's no way Gage is going to lose to Cardona and then beat Jericho. So like it kind of like took the surprise element out of that match for me. So I don't know. It's a cool moment for him, but I think it kind of ruined the Jericho match for me.
I was just gonna say that along those same lines, Domino's didn't like the whole pizza cutter angles.
No, well, apparently they aired the commercial during the pizza cutter spot.
No, thankfully PBR got one right here. They stepped up to take the ad. So PBR, we're also looking for sponsors if you want to sponsor us.
Yeah, Mongo's drinking one right now.
Yeah, my beer's empty. It wasn't a PBR though. It was what was it? It was a Jacked Up from Hobbs Brewing Company, local brew, double New England IPA. But yeah, mine's gone, so we'll have.
I don't have a drink with me. I left mine downstairs, but with a Pure Leaf iced tea. So Pure Leaf, if you're listening, come on, sponsor us.
Lay Coca-Cola.
Yeah, I'm wearing a Coca-Cola shirt.
Yeah, we need to get you sponsored by the spiked Arnold Palmer. Is what we need.
Yeah, get into that. So the Comic-Con is just a couple days before Raw on July 25th. To set this up, like I mentioned earlier, there's a whole tournament at the beginning of the night that Rey Mysterio wins. He becomes a new champion, but he has to defend it against Cena later that night, and Cena ends up beating Rey Mysterio. So
fucking way. Cena beat him? Oh,
I know.
Cena, Stevie Wonder saw that one coming.
So Cena is your new champion. And then right before Raw goes off the air, this happens.
That's what happened. Everybody lost their fucking minds.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways,
the Living Colors, Cult of Personality plays. Nobody knows what's going on because WWE doesn't use licensed music for their superstars. But CM Punk comes, flashes the belt, and Cena poses with his. But I just want to, before we go any further, I mean, that if there was ever a song that fits a character, it is that song. I mean, that was absolutely perfect for CM Punk's character. And I'm kudos to WWE for ponying up the money, and licensing that song. But basically, where this is headed. You're setting up a champion versus champion match at SummerSlam.
The Razor Shawn Michaels ladder match. We have two champions. What do we do?
Mm-hmm.
But going back to the Cult of Personality, I hope that Tony Khan is able to get the licensing for that. I really do. I think that you need to pick up right where you left off. You need that to play when Punk comes out so people can lose their fucking minds. You can't just have him come out to some random music. The fact that Tony Khan went and got the music for Christian Cage from TNA shows that he's willing to do that. They need him to come out to that music, period. Yeah. In my opinion, whichever way he shows up, you need to have that infamous guitar riff and him, and people be like, "There's no doubt who this is. There's no doubt at all who this is."
So you took a little bit of my WCW thunder there, but
WCW that was the B show, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
So I noticed, and I am the most analytical person you'll ever meet. Unfortunately, drives a lot of people nuts. But I don't apologize. I took a deep dive on Twitter and saw that In Living Color just followed AEW as of last week. So, I mean, it's kind of obviously it's a troll job because CM Punk also followed both WWE and AEW too the same day. So it's like, okay, they're obviously stepping their troll game up because they've been doing the teases, but I mean, the band didn't follow WWE, it followed AEW. So I agree with Roland. Tony Khan's known to buy licensed music like Jungle Boy's theme, like you said, Christian Cage.
They tried for Back in Black from AC/DC. Yep. It didn't go through, but they tried.
They got John Moxley Wild Thing. And there was rumors for a while that they were trying something for I can't think of his name right now. One of Snoop Dogg's themes because they did Cody Rhodes, but they were going to do another one. But his issue with WB or something, I guess, got in the hang of it. So that's why they had that weird Cody Rhodes theme for a while because of the promotion. But so he's not afraid to get it, and like you said, it's iconic. When you think of NWO, you think of that guitar riff. When you think of Triple H, he's had multiple, but you can think of One Toe. Is this on? For that era, Triple H, or King of Kings riff plays, or the Game plays. Songs are iconic, and you have to have it. Heartbreak Kid, the good version with Sean singing, not the first version. So, and if Andy's listening, it's now in your head again because apparently he sings that song all the time. So hope it's in your head again.
Hey, you know what? It could be worse. You could be thinking of Sexy Kurt.
I'll
make your ankle hurt. Ankle hurt. Okay, before we scare people off.
People just literally turn the fucking thing off. They're like, fuck, we're done.
Can we just, while we're on the subject of this, can we just say how great Paul Heyman did at singing John Cena's theme song?
Yeah, that was good. That was I showed Amber that clip and she was like, I told her, I go, this is like a 20-second clip. You need to see it. I didn't tell her what it was. I just showed it to her. And even she was like, that was fucking amazing. So yeah, it's so good.
Also, to go back to kind of get us back on track, you guys noticed that the announcers kept putting over the fact that, well, what do we do? This has never happened before. And like Ron said, WrestleMania 10. And you've done the interim storyline more than any wrestling company I've ever seen in my life. So what do you mean you've never seen an interim? Fans aren't stupid. They know that interim belts happen in UFC. They know that it's going to happen in wrestling for certain storylines. So, what do you do? Geez, John Cena is interim champion, so it's obviously going to be a unification match.
Yeah.
Wait, so you're gonna have the two guys with belts fight each other, and then the winner gets both of them? No fucking way.
Yeah, who's Vince going to put the strap on?
Gonna grab that brass cock ring. Put that strap on. Yeah, again, After Dark, folks. We our quality of show is probably lower, but like we enjoy it more. So I don't know if that makes us degenerates. I don't know if whatever. I think that we're way more entertaining at night, and it makes for a longer show sometimes. But I think that they're some of our better shows.
Yeah, I think if I don't think it's low quality per se. If you're looking for low quality, listen to episodes 1 through 10.
Especially episode 1. One was bad. We had a really shitty mic. It was bad. It really was.
So let's wrap up the Summer of Punk. August 14th, 2011. It is SummerSlam. CM Punk versus Cena. Title versus title here. I thought it was a great match. Triple H is a special guest referee. I thought this match, I actually liked this one a little bit better than the Money in the Bank match, even though the crowd wasn't as hot for this one. But I thought I was more entertained by this one. Triple H called it right down the middle until, but he makes the one fatal error at the end where, CM Punk gets to go to sleep and Cena's foot's on the rope. Triple H doesn't notice it, counts it, and Punk's your new champion. So I thought, I actually kind of liked the finish because it kind of set something up in the future with Triple H, Punk, and Cena. But after the match, out of nowhere, Kevin Nash comes in from the crowd, jackknife powerbomb Punk, and then Alberto Del Rio comes in, cashes in Money in the Bank, and is your new champion. And it's just looking back on that, like, really, Alberto Del Rio? Really?
Hey, so that also continues the theme of who won the stupid Royal Rumble in 2011 when Mongo and Glenn and I went, and it was Alberto Del Rio fucking shit up for everybody. Mm-hmm. Anyhow.
And then Diesel showing up randomly, too, so we had Kevin Nash again.
Yeah, exactly. So you got the 6 degrees of separation with Alberto and Kevin Nash showing up, and then that was the infamous. Well, somebody sent me a text that told me to spike the winner, and what might have been. I feel like this storyline, it unfortunately, because Nash wasn't cleared. I feel like this could have made the dynamic between Triple H, Punk, and Nash. I feel like this could have been really good if they were able to continue it, but they just, Nash wasn't able to clear a physical, and they weren't able to go forward with the match. And I don't know if things would have been different, or would have been, could have been better. I don't know, but you kind of wonder what could have been, because you feel like, obviously Triple H would be involved somehow because it's one of his better friends, and he's now the COO and all this stuff. So you just wonder what could have happened if they were able to actually have the payoff to this storyline.
Also, how insulting was it that Michael Cole was like, "Who is that? Who is that? Who? Like, really? How many people that friggin' big that are legitimately legendary Hall of Famers do you have to say like that?" That was straight insulting. I can understand if it's someone in a mask, like, "Who is that?" Even if they're that tall, but still, that's clearly Kevin Nash. Like,
you didn't think it was Brian Gonzalez at first?
No. And
I thought it was Glenn Jacobs playing the fake Diesel.
That's funny. But still, like, I hate when they go like, "Who?" I get you're trying to draw our attention, but most people who, if you're watching the pay-per-view, if you're watching wrestling, you gotta know who Kevin Nash is because of not only him as Diesel in his early run, but Kevin Nash, WCW. You're probably gonna know, or you saw him as in the terrible Punisher when he played the Russian. You know who that big son bitch is, or Super Shredder. That's the best one he did. But still, just
we're all done again.
Damn it, stupid mute button. He was in Magic Mike too. Like, that's not for. I mean, it hadn't happened yet, but like.
So you eat microwave steak and watch Magic Mike. I am getting really concerned tonight. I just got to
do not eat microwave steak. But yeah, I mean, hey, Magic Mike was a pretty good movie. Why are you crapping on me for that? My wife's telling me that I've never seen it, and I mean I've seen parts of it, but yeah, I haven't seen the whole thing. So
the naked men part.
yeah, only the naked men part is the part, and it was magic.
Oh boy.
Roland also likes Big Dick Johnson. He wishes,
I do.
he
I
would
think
come back.
that, I think that some of his stuff was good. With the baby oil and stuff, it was a good time. Nakazawa tried to kind of do it. It just didn't work out. But yeah, no, Big Dick Johnson, iconic character. Vince loved him. Vince is a big fan. So
I mean, Vince loves cock, so why not?
So yeah, that basically wraps up the summer of Punk 2011. And again, the realism here, the not knowing, the unpredictability really made it a good 3-month stretch of wrestling, and something that WWE really hasn't had since then. Too much of. So really enjoyed it. I think both matches that we talked about, Money in the Bank and SummerSlam 2011 with Cena, I think they're both worth the watch. I think they're both really good. We'll post a link to the the promos and segments we talked about tonight. But overall, it was real solid body of work there.
And like I said, it's interesting to wonder what would have happened with the Kevin Nash storyline, where they would have went and how the payoff would have been to that. It's just Nash wasn't able to pass physical, and it derailed whatever plans they had, and who knows what plans they did have, because we never got the payoff.
It stinks. WWE didn't capitalize it. They had 3 years left essentially Punk, and then they just kept doing the same stuff, and they forced him out the door. And now with everything going on, we could get a Summer of Punk 3. We could get another Summer of Punk. I mean, this Wednesday on Dynamite, I don't know if our viewers caught when Tony Schiavone came out. He said, "I have an announcement from Tony Khan," and he said, "We're going to Chicago on the 20th for Rampage." And the whole crowd starts chanting CM Punk, and they are panning around. So it's like, okay, that's strike number one. Like, you wouldn't just pan around. And they've already teased people. They used to tease Broken Matt Hardy with the Exalted One. So they're known to tease. They're known to play up the rumors and hype. So I actually have a couple clips here, if you listen, just to show that they're really playing into this. I mean, right after that promo, you have this.
Sting, Darby Allin, we just heard the huge news. AEW coming to the United Center in Chicago, August 20th, the first dance for Rampage.
I'll be in Chicago. I've been around a lot of men in this world that have laid claim to how they're the greatest. And there's only one place to really prove that. Right here in AEW. Even if you think you are the best in the world.
I mean, show Shane McMahon to AEW confirmed. He's got the trophy. No, just kidding. And then I just thought it was cool because then at the end of the night, so you think, okay, you got those two teases. It took me a while to catch on. It wasn't until the next day when someone said something. But so we're gonna take a look to listen to the pipe bomb beginning first, and then we're gonna listen to another clip, see if you guys catch it.
John Cena, while you lay there, hopefully as uncomfortable as you possibly can be, I want you to listen to me.
Chris, as you sit there in more pain than you've ever been in your entire life, I need you to listen to me.
I mean, that's paraphrasing if I've ever seen it.
And not to spoil it, but like Juventud Guerrera coming back to TNT for the first time in 20 years should be interesting.
Yeah, looking forward to that one.
The Nick Gage thing, like Tim said, unfortunately, it was kind of spoiled by the fact that Cardona whooped his ass essentially like 2 days before that, or 3 days before that, whatever it was. It kind of took the steam away from anything Nick Gage had. Although I will say that for a guy that's never really been on national TV, he didn't hurt himself any. He did the job he was supposed to do. He performed well. The match went off without a hitch, it seemed like. So I will give Nick Gage credit there that like he could have went into business for himself and he didn't. And that's what would AEW have done if he decided to legitimately go into business for himself? Did they have a plan for that? You're never really going to know. But after that match, for MJF to essentially quote, kind of misquote, but quote the CM Punk, pipe bomb towards Cena, it just, like Mongo said, it was the second tease from a superstar, from a wrestler that, hinting at CM Punk showing up in Chicago.
And I just think, based on what we talked about 10 years ago, and the rumors of Daniel Bryan signing and Malachi Black being there and Darby and all their homegrown, I mean, you're going to have a roster that could literally shake up the landscape of wrestling now. Like, this is no longer just, it's an alternative, yes, but we could be going back to like the WCW 96, 95 days. That's why I think it's funny when people will compare, AEW is just WCW 2.0. Well, WCW pre-1999 was solid, and that's a compliment. And just because they have talent that's from WWE doesn't mean they're bad. Like Vince putting a little jab out there this week, like, do you think they're going to take some more of my talent? I'll give them more, like joking about his releases. It's like, yeah, go ahead. People you think suck, they'll take them, because you know what? They'll use them right away. They'll mix them in. They'll have the weekly rotations. So you see Christian Cage, wrestle twice a month, but that's fine, because guess what? You see their homegrown talent wrestle 3 times that month. And with them adding this Rampage show, especially in Chicago, it's another hour. It's going to be, they're showing that they want this to be another like Dynamite. So it's going to be another hour show. So it's going to be like a Raw and SmackDown type of situation, except instead of, freaking 5 hours between 2 shows, it's going to be, 3. It's Raw, like Roland says all the time, Raw should be 2 hours. They're doing it smart. I'm glad they're not turning Dynamite to 3 hours.
Yeah, absolutely. Less is more when it comes to the wrestling business, I think.
It's just hard to fill 5 hours of content, no matter who you are. I mean, it's just a 3-hour block of, it's one thing. So a 3-hour show should be a pay-per-view, in my mind. But then you have Raw trying to fill 3 hours every Monday night. And it's just the land of the rematches. And like Mongo said, I'm glad that Tony Khan decided that it made more sense to do an hour somewhere else than add a 3rd hour to Dynamite.
Yeah. So there you have it. That is our Summer of Punk special. Stay with our social media. If anything more breaking happens with the whole CM Punk, AEW situation, we'll, post it on our social media accounts. Coming up for you guys next week, we're going back to our, traditional format. We're covering SummerSlam 97. That's the infamous Stone Cold Steve Austin Owen Hart match with the Tombstone botch that really, basically affected Stone Cold's career. And so we're going to cover that. Looking forward to covering that. I always like the 90s stuff. I think WWE was at its peak in the 90s. So looking forward to covering that for you guys next week.
And it's not 2000s WCW.
No, I should be here for this one.
Yeah, no, I agree. Make sure you're, telling your friends about us. Tell them to listen. We have, 87 now plus episodes in the archives, as they say in other shows. From the Jericho episode that we have, that now we all have on the show have a copy of his book. So, maybe we can do part 3 and 4 someday, or a different retrospective, because that book's pretty cool so far if you haven't picked it up. So definitely, follow us at WWPAP podcast on all of our socials. Visit our website, www.pap.com. Shoot us an email, contact us, let us know what you like, what you don't like. We're having fun doing this. Maybe like I said, we want to do a listener choice one day. So maybe that'll be coming at you soon. And if anyone's in the South Portland, Maine area, Saturday, August 7th, I'll be in there probably for about an hour or so, between probably till 1:30ish p.m. It's a really cool store, a lot of vintage toys, not just wrestling. I'm going to be showing up as my Mankind cosplay that apparently is a big hit. So, and then Mick Foley himself will actually be in the area a couple weeks after that. So, well, potentially depending when they reschedule, but it's kind of cool for our small little area to get such a big star.
Well, and that's the thing too. Like, unfortunately, I saw that thing that you shared that they canceled his original appearance, which he had just promoted, which sucks. That there was a scheduling conflict essentially, and it looks like they're not allowing him to go. So hopefully they can get that straightened out. He was just up here, at Santa's Village about a month or so ago, and it's cool to see people no matter who it is, being normal people, interacting with fans and whatnot. And I'm just going to put it out there that Mick Foley owes Tim some money anyways. So, if anybody happens to see him before then, just, let him know that, he owes Tim about $10 and, or an answer, whatever. It's fine. Whatever.
Or a shout out, just something.
Yeah. I mean, so, a simple no would be good, or just give him his friggin' money back. And for those of you that don't know, it's a Cameo thing. Tim reached out to him and they have, you can pay to send him a message. Well, Tim paid and we never got a response either way. Yes, no, indifferent, nothing. So that's been the going joke between the group chat of us, is that Mick Foley owes Tim $10. So, just wanted to throw that out there. And it's more of a joke than anything else, but it's also somewhat true, because when you pay for something, you should get an answer regardless, even if it's a no. Just tell us it's a no, and that's the unfortunate thing. It makes you wonder how much because Mick's usually a really stand-up guy, so it makes you wonder how much of that stuff he actually sees and how much filters to him and whatnot. So again, it's more of a joke, but it's also like a running joke with us that hey, Tim owes or Nick owes Tim $10.
Well, and if it does happen, we'll get some troll on Twitter. Oh, you paid for that mention, like we got with the Russo thing. But
well, and that's the thing. Anybody about the Vince Russo thing. Anybody that didn't think it was entertaining can literally lick my ass like that. I'm not even like. Yes, we paid for it. Yes, whatever. It was the most entertaining thing that we've had on our show that wasn't us ever. We've had some guest spots. We've had some other. Hands down, not that the Vampiro thing wasn't cool. The Vince Russo thing was friggin' amazing. So if
Gangrel.
Yeah, sorry, that's but that's the thing. Anybody that doesn't realize how cool the Vince Russo thing was, even if you don't like him, it's still really friggin' cool. And for anybody to crap on it, it just shows you that you have nothing better to do than troll and make comments about whatever, and the Vince Russo thing is honestly one of the coolest things. It's just listening to it, the fact that he mentioned the podcast, he listened to it. He may not, we don't know, but he at least did enough research to say, hey, I listened to these guys, they're cool, whatever. So what if we paid for it? It was easily one of the coolest things ever, regardless of if we had a podcast or not. So, plain and simple.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. So that's it for today's episode. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll be back next Saturday at 5 with SummerSlam 97. Until then, I'm Tim Kurt.
I'm Roland Pulis.
And I'm Mongo.
Hey, you didn't lean in this time. And this is Wrestling with Wrestling's Past and Present.
I hope you're all having a nice day.